What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Montana Method Podcast. One more time, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., author of Montana Method, host of your show today. Today, I have a very special guest, a very good friend of mine who arguably put me on the path that I'm on today. A friend, a mentor, someone I've known for many years, led me into the space of entrepreneurship and changing my life forever. I'm super happy and excited to connect with him today because you literally are going to see the first conversation we've had in the past 6 or 7 years. Yeah. We're going to catch up on everything he's up to, what he's been doing, what he's up to nowadays, how he's building his personal brand. We're going to talk about a lot of fun stuff. Stay right there because you're literally going to tap into the brain of Nelson Rodriguez by meeting one of his first ever mentors. Please welcome to my show, my friend, Karl Smith.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.
What is up? What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
Yo, there we go. My bad. Got it all messed up.
Good to see
Got to
you,
show
man.
you love, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Of course.
For sure.
I love what you're doing, dog. You've been doing well.
Bro, I love what you're doing, man. You're putting yourself out there. You're taking advantage of the trends right now. You're doing what most people are afraid to do. So I mess with it. I seen it from afar. I'm really bad with like keeping and maintaining connections with certain people because you know how it is, man, when we're in the hunt. When we're on the hunt and we're doing whatever it is, we're trying to climb the top of our mountain, it's like, I'm just like, yo, I'm so focused. So,
for sure.
But, man, always had love for everything that you're up to, man. And this is great. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you, brother.
Yeah,
I mean, you know, we come from the same stomping ground, so, you know, no one can compete with kind of our mentality. When you bring it into the digital space, you have a lot of people who kind of look for processes and do these things to become more efficient, which I understand. I'm with it. But at the end of the day, some days you just got to get your feet dirty, dog, you know? Like,
yeah. You got to get your feet dirty. You just got to jump in the pool, man. Most people, it's like they're toe dipping. It's got to be just right. The temperature's got to be just right.
Yep.
How deep is it? Is there chlorine in the pool? Is there salt water in the pool? What type of pool is it, right? And no, man, we just jump in and we figure it out later.
Meanwhile, guys like you and me are already like, all right, we're already drying off.
Yeah.
Like, yo, you're still what's up?
You're still good. You're drying off in your Hawaii t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Montana Method style. Yo, I love this though, man. So tell me about Montana Method. I know you're supposed to be asking questions, and I'll talk about myself in a bit. But I'm just curious, what made you want to do Montana Method? And I know that before, Tony Montana was just the G, and you were always referencing him. But like, what was the mindset behind this?
Sure. So the first time I ever was able to dream in life was after I saw Scarface at 12 or 13 years old. It was the first time I ever saw someone successful that I sort of could relate with, because Tony came over in the story of the movie. He came over in the Mario boat lift, and he was living under a bridge in a tent. My mother was one of those people. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I saw his story, and I saw my family. So to myself, I said, this could easily be my uncle or my father or my cousin. You know, so it was a real story for me. Later, I understood it was fictional, obviously. But it was like, wow, so if that guy can do it, obviously I'm not going to deal drugs, but if that
You're going to kill people?
No.
Rob people?
Okay, cutting out
people's arms?
Cutting out the murder and the dealing of drugs, the guy is pretty admirable. The guy was super successful, dominated whatever he decided to do.
Yep.
Great negotiating skills, charisma like no one else.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
He went after what he wanted and he got it. That bad guy scene, you know, at the end, towards the end when his life isn't going too well and he gets super wasted.
But it's a great representation of life because we know people like that too. You reach the top and then all of a sudden you start, right?
Oh, yeah. Without mentioning names.
Yeah.
So that scene of like him saying, oh, yeah, you need people like me to point your finger and say, that's the bad guy. You know, what does that make you good? No, you're not good. You're just good at hiding. And that's been my life, sort of, not doing bad things and being a bad guy, but I've always had that black sheep image of, oh, look at what Nelson's doing. He's trying to do this. And it was that, I bought into that attitude, like, that's what people do. They kind of want to make fun of you and point fingers at you because you're the one going after it. And, oh, that's not what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, bro, Tony is really just a representation of going after your dreams and doing what you want regardless of what people think of you.
Love it.
You know?
That's fucking dope.
And his swagger is just, he's so me in so many ways, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, yo, Montana Method. This is what, I'm
Method.
a product of Tony Montana, you know?
So that's what's up. So we got Nelson Montana, or is that what it is?
Yeah, some of my buddies call me Montana now.
Montana, just Montana.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
That's kind of, it's obviously, I'm so attached to the brand.
The brand is everything, bro. Your
Yeah.
brand is everything. It's the look, it's the feel, it's what people expect of you. It's how people connect with you. It's like you got to have the brand, and most people don't figure that out, right?
Yeah.
They're so busy stuck trying to promote someone else's brand,
Bro.
They're so busy stuck like just floating with the wind, right?
Yep.
It's like this day I feel like I'm gonna be this type of
Yep.
person, right? And then the next day I feel like I'm gonna be this type of person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
True.
you like I had told you before we started recording, you were ahead of me. I didn't understand the personal branding concept until literally maybe a year or two ago. You were already doing it a couple years ago. So now when I started seeing your accounts, and obviously we follow each other, I see you on Instagram, I see you here, I see you there, and now I get what Karl's doing. Okay, all right, cool. So we got to reconnect. We got to,
So the crazy thing is, right, I don't even see it as like being ahead or whatever it is. I feel like, yo, each of us, we're trying to get to this final destination, right?
100%.
And it's like we got a journey and we got a destination on the map. And it's not even like 100% clear. And the more you revisit your goals and everything that you want, you become more clear. It becomes a more precise location on a map. But until then, you just know like, it's somewhere in the North Pole. It's somewhere in that direction, right? So you just know I got to head north.
Yeah.
So you're trying to figure out, how do I get north, right? And you're in your own place in life, right? You might be in a car. You might be on a raft. All right, you might be stuck on a river somewhere. You might be on a rowboat, and I'm in my place trying to get to somewhere around the same place. So we're each trying to figure out our own shit. And I think going back to our background, and we can get into our stories and all of that. When we're in a place to where we know that we're supposed to be somewhere different, we just start pulling whatever resources we can get. So you're listening to people, you're listening to tapes, you're finding mentors, you're reading books, clearly. I'm listening to people, I'm finding mentors, I'm reading new books, clearly. And, one of our old mentors used to say, success is old, right? There's no new truths. Like everything you need to be successful, it's already there. It's in the Bible, it's in all the books, right? All these GOATs, all these motivational speakers, success coaches, all of that. So we could be reading different books. They might have a specific tool that might be different, but it all points the same direction. And that's what I love about our journey. Like you're doing what you're doing. I'm doing we didn't even need the contact, but we start off in the same place. We say we want to do something, totally different vehicle. The vehicle changed, but the destination for what we want stays the same.
Yep.
So I'm on some new vehicle, you're on some new vehicle, and then all of a sudden life paths cross and it's like, yo, you're still in the fight. You're still in the jungle. You're still headed to the top of the mountain.
Yep.
And that's what makes it fucking beautiful, man. It's fucking great.
Definitely.
Yeah.
This is part of the reason I really started the podcast in the first place, because I have so many great friends and there's so many experiences that we had together and all these different things and all that life experience that we went through back in the day. The average person never goes through something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we did it intentionally. We intentionally put ourselves in the fire. We're trying to become successful, learn these things. And I said to myself, I'm doing humanity a disservice if I don't put this out there.
Yeah.
Because we're in the age of where everything's digital. It's, we came up when social media wasn't really a thing, but now everything's at your fingertips. And if I don't give people access to this information, I'm just not a good person.
Yeah, I agree.
I
agree. Because especially if your cause, like your purpose, what you're doing, you're trying to basically get people this information out. You know that we came up on some things, and it's so crazy the way the waves work, right? Because when we started our journey in direct sales network marketing, everyone else was on this, go to school, get the job. And if you didn't have a job, if you weren't trying to pursue a job doing something, you were weird, right? You were that person that's like looked at, frowned upon, like, what are you doing with your life? Guy. You're the bad guy, right? And we had to live life as the bad guy. So what happens is we're on some journey, and then everyone's on their own journey trying to figure out what's right, what's wrong. And so we start elevating because we learn about entrepreneurship. We learn about what it's like to go through some type of pit, learn some new skill, elevate, make more money, affect and influence other people, right? So we're learning all this stuff that no one else is learning. And so we feel like we got a leg up. And then all of a sudden, times change, technology advances, and then you have social media. And the people that all of a sudden were here had a platform, social media, that if you were just messing around with that, if you got good at it, we're over here, we already got the leg up because we're learning entrepreneurship.
And
we're learning how to hunt.
Some people blew up on accident.
They blew up on accident. So they're messing around and they're over here.
Boom.
And all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, man.
Now they got the leg up on us. So what I tell people is entrepreneurship, becoming an influencer, it's a game of leapfrog. And just because you're ahead right now today doesn't mean you're going to be ahead because these people are going to copy you or find another tool, another platform, another avenue that'll leapfrog and get them ahead of you. So you got to be in a competitive state all the time. So these people that knew nothing about business, entrepreneurship, they pretend, they're online, they're talking all this shit. They have no real life experience. They don't know what it's like to go through no's, rejections. They don't know what it's like to build something, watch it fail, build something, watch it fail, right? But they ended up lucky because they're posting consistently. They didn't even know they're supposed to. The algorithm favored them, and now all of a sudden they got an influence, they got a following, and now they're like up here. So now we're over here like, oh shit, we got to get on that level. And again, once we learn the rules of their game and we apply it to what we know, boom, we're up here. It's a game of leapfrog. And so as we're starting to advance, now you have new tools like AI, and you have people that say this is complicated to use, it's gonna make my life easier, and they're doing the bare minimum. You got people while we're here, that we're here on social media, no real influence, they don't know how to communicate, they just have a following, and they post up some little TikTok videos, and they're doing dances, but they don't know how to monetize, they don't know how to really impact people. So we got the leg up. Some of those people are gonna mess around with AI, the new tech, and they're gonna get good, and boom, leapfrog. And we're gonna be like, God damn it. So it's an endless game of chasing to try to get to the top of our mountain. But, bro, I admire and respect people that are still in the fight because this shit is hard as you know, bro. We're in the jungle.
Hey, I posted yesterday. I put up a status. I put it everywhere. I put it on Threads, Twitter.
Yeah.
I said, it's not easy. I make it look easy. You guys think this is easy. It's easy to have a podcast and write a book and run this business and do this and coordinate with that. It's not easy. The difference is I do it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do what you do anyway.
Yep.
It's not about it being easy. It's about I want to get to where I want to get to, and this is what it takes. There's no negotiating with success.
We're in the fight, bro. We're in the fight of our lives. You don't negotiate with it. You just pay the price. Every day you wake up, you're in a battlefield. And if you're not ready to fight, you're going to get wiped out. Destroyed. Someone's going to attack you. Your competitors are going to attack you. Life is going to attack you. Your finances are going to drown you. Like, there's always something that's happening.
Always something going on.
There's always something that's happening,
Always something happening. Always something going on.
Yeah.
So those cycles you were talking about, I'm reminded now, I take it from our era, which was pretty much Facebook just started becoming a thing. The iPhone 4 had just came out. So social media was kind of taking off a little bit.
Facebook.
And then they bought it. Then Instagram comes out, and Instagram was a thing, right?
Yep.
So we had, I'm picturing in my head all these different moments in the past decade or 15 years or whatever where it was, boom, Facebook. All right, boom, Instagram. Yo, WhatsApp, boom. And then you had, boom, TikTok.
That's right.
And then TikTok changed everything, right?
TikTok changed everything because you had people that were behind the starting line. Everyone's looking at these IG influencers, and these guys are leading the charge in terms of influence, who's affecting other people, who's getting all the attention, because you know that, it's all about marketing and exposure, right? How many people you get in front of. And then people that were never known, people that had no following, just hop on the TikTok, and I'm here like, is TikTok going to take off? Bro. It will, maybe not. Just stay focused.
I refuse. Yeah, it was like, no, man, I'm going to focus on one thing.
Focus on this, because I still got all these things I need to make up on this platform with IG. I got to get better at this. And then these people, bro, nobody's. TikTok, explode.
Boom.
Explode. And then now, all of a sudden, we're up here. Boom. They're like up here. And then they bring all their TikTok followers over there and migrate to IG. And I'm like, oh, God damn it. This leapfrog thing again, right? Yeah. But it doesn't stop. It's just how it works.
It doesn't, And then TikTok made it to where everything changed. They started doing Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts. And now you have AI. It's the next. So with me, I'm not the fossil. I'm always willing to adapt. You know what I mean? The 48 Laws of Power is one of my favorite books. The last law is be formless. Right?
That's right.
You have to be able to adapt, dude. Yeah. You cannot be the rigid fossil who's like, no, but things used to be. Yeah, they used to be. They used to be. Who I was 10 years ago, who you were 10 years ago, that's great who we were. That's great the things we learned. That's great the connections we made, or else we wouldn't be sitting here having this podcast. And it's over.
Yeah.
There's a new era.
Yep.
You either adapt or you die.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
That's it.
And that's
And you know who got that?
Boy.
Yeah, that's right. He fucking got that. Imagine, right? In those camps when he basically came from Cuba, under those tents, under the bridge, you just stay with, oh, this is how things are. Let's conform. Nope. He's like, bro, few of us are getting out of here. They say we got to kill someone. Let's go ahead. Let's make it happen. All right.
Yo.
Where's my money? Where's my ticket? Where's my job?
My green card. Yo.
Right? Then he's working as a dishwasher, right? And then he's working at a cook at that little restaurant.
Yes.
And everyone else would be like, yo, this is the way it's supposed to be. He's like, no, I want more.
Yes.
And then he sees other people outside. Oh, they're getting into gang shit, drug shit, killing shit, whatever.
Yep.
And he's like, but these guys leapfrog. I don't want to be a dishwasher for the rest of my life.
Yes.
He throws the towel, right?
Bro.
And he's like, fuck that. We're doing this. Leapfrog. But then
Yeah,
he
dude.
realizes, yo, I'm doing this. And some of the people doing this, they're not like just a member of a gang. They're actually leading their own crew.
Yeah,
They're actually,
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying? So it's like, yo, this is what they're doing. This is how they're
Yes.
getting ahead. So it's like, bro, we can't be under some other person's umbrella. Leapfrog.
I'm writing a second book. This was more of a memoir about how the movie influenced my life.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm writing another book that is, all right, these are the laws. This is Tony Montana's like manifesto. These are the Scarface rules. And this is what that movie, like following these rules is what made me go from here
To
mentally to there, you know? So it's funny you brought up the scene in the cafeteria.
Yeah.
Because think of this. You're a broke-ass dishwasher that just walked out of a tent, right? You just got here to this country maybe, what, a month ago?
Yep.
Two months ago?
Yep.
Bro, you look at, like, one of the most dangerous gangsters in the city of Miami, you tell him, yo, you can kiss my ass.
Yeah.
You're not paying me $500. You're paying me $1,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what kind of confidence?
Yeah.
Talk about knowing what you want in life. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The guy just knew.
And then he didn't settle.
No. He knew what he was worth. He said, yo, you can shoot me right now, but you're not paying me that, dog. Like, it was that confidence, that like burning desire of, I don't give a shit what you tell me, bro. I don't care if the cards could be stacked against me. This is where I'm going to be.
Yep.
You with it or not,
Yeah.
bro.
And at every level, he was also willing to die for what he believed in, which is the difference. Because it's one thing when you try to pretend, and then the person's like, "No, I'm not paying you this," and you say, "All right, well, you could pay me $1,000 or die." Like, there's a good chance,
Bro,
that
the guy was
dude
like,
could
"Yo."
be like, "Yo, I'll just kill you." But if you're not willing to take the hit, if you're not willing to take the L, if you're not willing to die,
Bro.
you're never going to bring that mindset or attitude to all the other risky situations that you need,
100%.
right, to bulldoze through that to elevate to that next level.
Yo, and talk about risking his life.
Yeah.
He was sitting in Bolivia in this massive compound of the, like, probably the most successful drug lord in the world. And the guy's like, yo, how do I know you're not a chivato? How do I know you're not a snitch? And he goes, bro, what? Throws the thing at him like, yo, you want to make a move? What's up? Like, oh my God, dude, this guy's awesome.
I need to go back
You know,
and watch it again,
yo.
man. It's been a few years.
You know what I'm remembering?
But it's, bro, easily my top 3 favorite movie of all time.
Of all
I can't
time.
even think of what would be before it. But I know I have like 3 top movies. And I'm having a brain fart now, but this is definitely top 3
For
greatest
sure, bro.
of all time.
Yes.
Yeah.
So many great lessons. And then I'm remembering something. Bro, I'm getting chills remembering this. I remember I had like a little spike in my business, and then it was the first time I had a spike. And you had just hit your 7-figure position. You were making money. You were living at what was used to be called the Viceroy. Now it's called the W.
Yeah, the W Hotel, yeah.
And we were buddies, so, yo, Carl, like, I need some advice, bro.
I remember.
You're like, yeah, come through. So I came through. Mind you, I'm living like with like my grandfather. I'm broke. I'm going up this 48th floor, 38th floor, whatever. I was like, bro, this is dope. Oh my God. I walk in and it goes to your crib. You have the whole view of Brickell Avenue. We sit down, you give me some mentorship. And then I look over and Scarface was playing on the TV, bro. And I told you, Carl, bro, I'm telling you, Carl, my goal is to buy the Atlantis. You look at the scene on TV right now. Look at where they're at.
Yeah.
The Atlantis. It's the penthouse. The
I
Atlantis
remember.
next door.
Yeah.
Bro, and look at this.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right?
That is crazy.
Bro.
Insane.
Bro, it's wild, man.
Yeah,
like,
man.
I can't even. All those moments, like, they're not coincidental. You know what I mean? I always every time I saw the movie on TV somewhere, and it happened to me all the time, more than you can imagine. I was like, bro, yes. All right, Tony. this is what I should be doing. Thank you.
Yeah. That's needed, bro. You need to have those aha moments. You need to have that inspiration. I don't think enough people have mentors that they really consider, whether they're a personal mentor or not. You just really need a role model.
For sure.
You know, and so you can't grow to a new level if you don't have someone you're aspiring to like be like.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mentorship. So, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for mentorship.
Do you ever talk about your mentorship? Like, you ever talk about your story? Like how you even, Okay. On your podcast, these guys know? These guys know your story?
A little bit.
All right, cool. Well, why don't you talk? How did it all start for you?
So I was 17 years old. I moved out from, not moved out really. My mom left to West Palm Beach and I wanted to finish high school. So I stayed in Miami and I kind of had to move out, you know, live on my own. So I move into this super dirty ass efficiency. So my life is basically I wake up at 5 in the morning. I go to school. I finish high school at like 2:30 in the afternoon. I go to work at McDonald's at 3 in the afternoon. I get out at 11. I go home. I go to sleep and I wake up and I do it over the next day. So my life is dog shit.
Yeah, that's rough.
You know, it's rough.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where I kind of I was going to meet up with some of my friends to play pool after a long shift at McDonald's. And I was just like, man, I just want to figure this out, dude. You know, like, and I was kind of an atheist at the time. So I look up at the sky and I say, yo, Buddha, God, I don't know how this works, bro. I've never prayed. I don't know what your name is, but throw me a bone here. Like, figure this out. 2 weeks later, my buddy Johnny hits me up and he tells me about the business we were a part of. So I took it as a sign. I was like, yo, boom. And I met you, and the rest is basically history, you know, through that business. I mean, I talk about a lot of different specific moments within the business that I had. One of which I actually write about you in the book. You remember that one day where I hit you up at like 2 in the morning? Yep. And I was like, yo, I'm stranded on the highway.
Stranded, right?
You were dying. You had like a cold, and you were like, wait, where are you?
Yeah. I remember.
Bro, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That was a pivotal moment for me. Let me tell you, because up until that point in my life, I had never met a friend who would just be willing to drive out to I-95 at 3 in the morning and just help me out, you know?
Yeah.
So that moment kind of made me realize, like, you sow what you reap, and you were an example of, if you're a good person and take good actions and just do good things in the world, good things are going to happen to you. You know what I mean? So,
thank you, man. Appreciate that.
No, of course.
It's true. You know what I mean? Bro, you always had my back. You know, we had ups, we had downs. We were working the business. We're trying to figure it out.
For sure.
Most people would come in the direct sales business that we were working, and they would quit. So it was like when you had your group, your nucleus, your core people, you know what I mean? That was important. That was needed. Yeah. Because every day you don't wake up inspired to keep fighting. Sometimes you're like, bro, I don't know if I could do this. And then on times where I was low or weak, you know, you're over here and you're believing the vision, like, bro, let's fucking let's go out, let's charge today. And then on times where you were feeling low, then it's like, boom, all right, things are happening on my side, and it's like, boom, let's get some inspiration. Let's go out there and let's kill him.
I forgot who gave me the nickname. I think it was Dyro, because he always, coincidentally, every time he was recording, he would catch me. Woo! He would be catch me. He was like, yo, Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And believe it or not, the days where I was like super hype, it's the days where like the shittiest stuff was happening to me.
I know.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, man.
Even at conventions, bro. We would be at conventions and shit was just not looking good, and you just found a reason to be positive, or found a reason to keep fighting. You know, found a reason to think, you know, about moving forward. So
always.
Yeah.
I've told the story before. I bought a one-way ticket to Phoenix. I didn't have money for a hotel. I didn't have money for food. I didn't have money for anything. And something told me, buy the ticket. You'll be back in Miami in a few days. I bought the ticket. I went out, and everything came together. Like, people found out I didn't have a ride. He's like, yo, you could ride back with us to Miami. Someone found out I didn't have a hotel. Yo. Someone found out I didn't have money for food. He gave me like a bag full of food for the weekend. When a human is willing to risk everything to achieve a goal, everything always comes together, and I am a product of that, dude. When I started this podcast, I had no clue what I was doing. I just started putting it together, and I said, you know what? I know great people. I'm just going to start inviting them, and I started reaching out to people that I knew personally, but from back in the day and everything, and it came together, and now I have this, you know. Now I have a YouTube short that has 100,000 views, and this, you know, and I'm gaining 5 or 6 subscribers a day, and
you're posting 5 reels a fucking day. You have endless content, right?
Yeah, man.
And you're meeting cool people that are achieving things, and you're taking their best nuggets and you're giving it to the rest of the world.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. That's what's up.
Definitely.
So how long were you in the business for again? How long was it total for you?
I mean, officially, I would say 6 to 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
What do you think was like your biggest learning lesson? Because we had highs, we had lows, and all that stuff, right?
Brother.
So I don't know. It's like just a question on the spot.
That's a tough one because
The biggest takeaway, right? You're there, and we didn't even get to like where we ultimately wanted to get to. And it was like just a constant fight. But because of that, we ended up growing. We grew a lot. And there's things that we have now that allow us to really compete when it comes to the rest of the world, right? Other opportunities. So what do you think is like, this is the biggest thing that I got from that 6 year?
I probably have a top 5, but I'll pick one.
Right, fine, top 5.
All right.
Or top 3 if it's not coming.
Top 3. So first one, bro, I'll die before I quit.
Yeah. Tony Montana style.
I'll die before I quit.
Yep.
Like, yo, you want to take... You want to take me?
Yeah.
You need a fucking army going to take me? You know what I mean? That kind of shit. Like, there's no way you're going to beat me. Yeah. Like, you might beat me, but eventually I'll beat you. Yeah. Because I'm going to keep trying until I beat you.
And leapfrog.
Yo, it's inevitable. Yep. That's why I see these systems nowadays. And I'm like, yo, you don't understand.
Yeah.
You don't know me, bro.
Exactly. Like, you're way ahead. Yo. It doesn't matter.
The difference is when you have a little dip and a few people unfollow you or some dude says no to going on your podcast, guess what? Bro, I'm already like past you.
Yep.
I've already invited 50 people to be on my podcast. I'm already recorded 50 episodes. I'm already thinking about season 4.
Yep.
Like, all right, that's definitely number 1, I would say. I'll quit. I'll die before I quit. Like,
nice.
That's not happening. Yeah.
Like that.
Second, competitive edge. Like competition, dude, bro. That business taught me, like, if you want to compete, you gotta step your game up.
Yeah.
You gotta be hungry. You know what I mean? Like desire.
Yes.
I went through so many different hard things in that business that it just tested my resolve, and it made me understand that you gotta be at this level if you want it.
Yeah.
You gotta want it this bad.
Yep.
And that that willingness to go through those actions, and your adversaries, your opponents, your enemies are going to look at you and they're just going to get demotivated because, like, no, I'm not willing to go through that.
Exactly.
But I am.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the hunger, like desire.
That's
definitely.
What's up. Yeah.
And
you're
third one.
there watching people fall off and you're like, all right, cool. Or watching them go through challenges and they're like, I don't know if I can go through this. You're like, I don't know how I'm going to go through this, but I know I'm going to go through it. Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't fail because if I fall down or if it doesn't work out, I'm going to try again.
Exactly.
I'm just going to do it again. So, like, be willing to die before you quit.
Competitive.
That competitive edge, that resolve, that hunger. And if I had to pick a third one, because there's so many good ones, just evolution, man. You got to evolve. You got to evolve constantly. The person you are today is not enough to be the person you need to be tomorrow.
Yeah. You
got to die every day, and you got to do it willingly.
Yep.
And you got to willingly accept this pain of, like, growing. I compare it to stretching a rubber band. Like, if a rubber band was a living being, trust me, that's painful. You know, I compare it to, the medieval times when you're getting stretched. That was painful. But guess what? That stretch, once you stretch and you become that next person, that bigger being, you can't go back.
Yeah.
It's only forward.
Exactly.
You might get stuck at that level for a while.
Exactly.
But you're not going to go back.
Exactly.
And the more you evolve, the more awareness you have, you know what I mean? Like, the more you're able to see things that other people can't.
Bro.
You know?
Yes. Yeah.
You see these things and it's like...
You're like superhuman.
Yes.
You start picking up almost like a sixth sense with a lot of things.
Bro.
And it's nothing that anyone else out there will understand. You know what I mean? It's just something that you got to go through it. And it all comes through pain, man. It's through pain. You ever hear the analogy of the rubber band stretching, since you just brought up the rubber band?
Go for it. What is it?
All right, cool. So it's like you have a rubber band. When you first get it, it's like a certain dimension, right? Certain amount of length, you see it, right? Once you keep stretching it, you see how it literally stretches over time, right? So it becomes a little longer, or whatever, until it eventually snaps. And that's actually one thing that Eric Thomas talks about, right? He says, you're never going to know how far you can go until you're willing to risk going too far, right? Tony Montana went like, yo, you had to risk all the way out. And he could have died in scene 1, right? In scene 1, he could have died when he tried to shank that person, right? In the little camp thing, right? He could have died again when he got into, let me get into this gangster life or whatever, and he started pushing it too far. He kept pushing. He was willing to die at any given moment. He accepted, like, this is going to be my truth. And it took him to the height and the pinnacle. And some people might argue, yo, that's too far because look at what happened. He died. He died at the end. And I would be like, and it just really comes down to your mentality. It's like, all right, cool. Would you rather live a long time and live your life as the janitor, as a dishwasher, as someone who didn't really stretch and see how far they can really be? Or would you be willing to risk going too far, live a life well lived, even if it was maybe a little bit shorter? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Even if you had to do that. This guy has a movie that 20 years later, 25 years later, whatever it is, we're still talking. 40 years, see? 40 years later, we're still talking about. He's not even a real goddamn character, but it's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
It's crazy. But that's what it is. And I think greatness is basically making a decision that you're going to choose to do something and be someone who's worth talking about 40 years later.
Ugh.
And you're not going to be spoken about. You're not going to be remembered if you're not willing to stretch and risk going too far, right? So anyways, the other thing with the rubber band is the rubber band, right? In order for it to project, in order for it to propel, you have to stretch it. You can't fire off a rubber band if you just pull it partially and you don't stretch it beyond its capacity. You got to stretch it, stretch. And then when you let it go, it launches, you know?
Takes
and
off.
if you're going to launch, you're going to take off, you got to be willing to stretch. You got to be willing to risk going too far. So it's not something that everyone's going to do, but obviously not everyone's meant for greatness, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when you're pulling a rubber band back in life, it feels like you're going backwards.
Yep.
And it's like, oh my God, what's happening? I don't get this. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, you're 50 steps ahead of where you were before, you know?
Isn't that crazy? When we started, we were like, what, high school, first year of college?
Yeah.
When we're pulling our rubber band back, everyone's like, no, we're progressing. Year 1, college. Year 2, college. Year 3. What are you doing with your life, bro? And it's like you're going backwards.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? And you're like, hold on, wait for it. And then it's like we communicate better than you. I can sell better than you. I can influence better than you. We can build teams better than you. We can start projects better than you. We can do all this stuff that other people never learned to do because... That's right.
I can't think of one person from our circle from back in the day who's not kicking ass on whatever they're doing.
Yep.
Anybody.
Yeah.
Like, I know someone who went into car sales, top car salesman in the whole company.
Yep.
I know someone who opened a restaurant. He has like a chain of restaurants. Right? Everybody is kicking ass.
Right.
And it's because you went through that school, man. Like,
we went through that school, bro, the school of hard knocks.
We're really lucky that we were that last generation that came out of that era.
Yeah.
Because we were. Yeah.
Because, the business is not the same,
No.
right? That whole thing's not the same, and the culture has actually shifted, right? And back then, there was an audio book and a book that Robert Kiyosaki came out with. It's called The Business of the 21st Century, and it was like, this is it. It's the way that's going to transfer people from the mindset of being stuck as an employee and move them over to the right side of the quadrant where they can actually build an asset. They could build an asset that sets them free. So it's like, this is the business of the 21st century, network marketing, direct sales. But then it was like, that was short-lived because, not even like 10 years later, technology advances and all that. And now the business of the 21st century is all digital. It's like, we're in the information age. It's like, what are you doing to create some type of digital product? How are you getting paid on your intellectual property, right? People are sitting there and they're making money from just dancing on TikTok all day. It's like, it's different.
It's
and
insane.
They're experiencing the shift of, okay, instead of working a 9 to 5, you're doing something else. But you're finding ways to monetize. And there's still a journey, right, that you got to go through. It's not all easy, obviously, by any means. But everything shifts. Everything evolves. You got to evolve with the time.
I mean, think about how many different businesses are mainstream and big, and people have made millions, if not billions of dollars off of that exist today that didn't exist 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Crypto and NFTs and now AI. And you know,
exactly.
It's crazy.
Right?
It's insane.
That's nuts.
And that's evolution, brother.
That's nuts. All right, so if you have one area to choose, let's say you're going off of one area. You know, there's the law of, what's it called? Malcolm Gladwell talks about takes 10,000 hours to master anything, right? And so people can't become a master at what they do. You can't become the top 1% in your field if you're not willing to put in the 10,000 hours, 100%. Right? So if you're putting in your next 10,000 hours, and there's all these shifts, and some of the shifts that have came about the last couple of years that have really gotten big and all that, you have 1, crypto. We got 2, AI. What's a third one? Can you think of a third one?
I mean, social media is going to keep evolving, right?
Social media. You know what was crazy? Changing. I was watching a Gary Vee video, and he was just talking about how the evolution has changed from broadcast TV. People were watching TV, and this is what they look for entertainment. And then all of a sudden, social media came out, and everyone's thinking it's just a social profile. And he was talking about 10 years ago when social media was coming out that it's not just a social profile. What it is you have your own broadcast television network. Now, are you posting content on that network every single day? Or are you posting content on that network every single month? Or is it once or twice a year? And he's like, you remember when we were kids and you're basically going through channels and you had like WB39 and I think it was like UPN. And you'd go through one channel and like the channel would work and then you'd have like 5 channels that, exactly. It's like staticky. So there's a whole channel, but there's no network. There's no broadcasts on that channel. And then you have to skip like 10 channels just to get to the next one. And then there's one channel, we'll watch that. And then you got to skip 10 channels just to get to the next one. So he's like, that's what happens when people have their own broadcast, television network, social media, and you're not posting up 5 reels a day. You're not posting content every day. People might be inspired by something you posted today. And then they're like, oh, you know what? Let me go back and see if there's anything on this channel. And when they go to your channel, you haven't posted in 2 weeks, so it's just static.
Yo, that's a great analogy.
Right?
That's really good.
Deep.
And now with new media, with podcasting, think about it. I read this statistic the other day, and my mind was 80% of advertising dollars are being spent in podcasts now.
Yeah, it's all shifted. It doesn't make sense. You put it on the television network, you can't measure or monitor anything, right? And then you go and you invest it into influencers, social media. You could track numbers. How many impressions, how many exposures, how many views, how many clicks, how many likes, how many engagements, how many conversions, what's the conversion rate, everything. So they just go on, and the social media people that actually took their television network seriously and posted content seriously, and you don't do it seriously for a day or a month or even a year. It takes years. It takes time.
It does.
You build your credibility, and now people will invest their advertising dollars with you.
Boom.
Right? So let's say those 3 niches. You got 10,000 hours you're going to dedicate to being the top 1% in the world. And that 10,000 hours, working full-time 40 hours a week, will take you 10 years. If you're working double that, 80 to 100 hours a week, you can master it in 5 years, right? So are you doing it in crypto? Are you doing it in AI? Or are you doing it as a social media influencer? And I know we're going to try to do it all 3, but I'm dead because we're crazy. But
that's a good
if you're choosing one, which one is it?
I would say that's good. The thing is, so here's my answer. I'm going to say social media.
Why?
Why? Because it's only people think it's reached its peak, and every time we think it reaches its peak, it gets bigger.
Yeah.
And there's a new vehicle that makes it even easier for you to get your brand or your business or whatever out there. And like we said, it happened with Facebook, then Instagram, then WhatsApp, then TikTok, then boom, boom. It's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
Now Threads,
Oh, the 4th one. My bad to cut you off. 4th one's e-commerce. That's huge too. I know people crazy, bro, that are doing some wild stuff in e-commerce. And then you got trading, 5. Okay, so you got those 5, right? Trading's gotten real popular. So we got learn to master the AI space, make millions doing that. Learn to master e-commerce, make millions doing that. Learn to master trading, make millions doing that. Learn to master social media. And then I forgot the 5th one I mentioned.
So I'm still going to say social media. Why?
All right,
because all the other things run off of your social media. E-commerce, you push. Where do you push the e-commerce product?
Yeah,
social media.
Social media.
You use the AI to be efficient in what? In your social media. Crypto. You accept money through your on social media. Everything points back to the social media.
Nice.
You master social media. You master how this works. You master attention. Getting attention. Attention is the commodity nowadays.
The attention economy. That's right.
Bro, if you have people's attention, you have everything.
Yep. Yeah, Grant Cardone proved that one, right?
Omnipresent. Why do you think I post 5 reels a day?
Yeah.
I'm following him, guys like him, guys like Bradley.
Yeah.
And they only do 3.
Bradley does 3 a day?
Yeah, he does 3 a day. Yeah, so I heard him on a podcast.
Gary Vee does like 5. That guy's monster, 5 to 8.
Beast.
Yeah.
Beast. And if you want to be up there, you got to do what they do, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's what it takes. Gary Vee, he was on platforms for years before anybody was listening to him, so that's what it takes. And the thing is, back then, you didn't have Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts and all the technology you have nowadays. You didn't have TikTok. So we're at an advantage. You remember that old question we used to get asked? Imagine you had to start over with all the knowledge you have now. How fast would you get things done, or how fast would you succeed? I'd succeed twice as fast because now I know everything. And then they tell you, well, now you know everything, so do it. That's where we're at right now. You have all these things. Yeah, you're not Gary Vee, but guess what? You have an advantage over him because now you have all these tools that he didn't have when he started.
Yep.
So there's no excuse.
Exactly.
You know?
I think too many people use the Gary Vee example in comparison that talk themselves out
Yes.
of starting. Yeah.
For sure.
In that process. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they don't talk about, you know, Dan Bilzerian. He posts like one thing a month, and he was the king of Instagram, quote unquote, for I don't know how long, you know? They don't talk about all these other examples where it's these guys that come out of nowhere and, you know, they're on the map. And why does that happen? No one really knows. But if you're taking the at-bats, it has to happen eventually.
Yeah, it happens eventually. And you got to be top in what it is that you do. And so Dan Bilzerian, great poker player, but what he's really good at was demonstrating lifestyle. He's portraying a life that other people want. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Same thing with Andrew Tate, right? So by the way, thoughts on Andrew Tate, man? You hear he just got out?
Yeah.
Yeah, he just got out of the house arrest.
Yeah. So my thoughts are, I agree with a lot of what he says. A part of me, though, recognizes that a lot of it, at least a good percentage of it, he's doing it with the intention of getting clicks, you know. So I don't really think there's probably some interviews where he's really being him, but there's clickbaity Andrew, and then there's the real Andrew.
I was actually just talking to Carlos about that yesterday. Yeah? It was either yesterday or the day before. And he goes and he quoted Andrew Tate on something. And it was something that I thought was ridiculous. I don't even remember. But he was there. You know, Carlos, bro. Carlos is crazy sometimes, right? So Loso was there and he was talking about, so what about this and what about that? And I was like, that doesn't even make sense. And he's like, these girls were doing this and da-da-da. And I was like, how are you going to say that when you do the exact same thing? Too? I'm like, what are you talking about, bro?
Hypocrisy, yeah.
Exactly, right? And then he goes, no, men and women are different. Didn't you hear what Tate said? You're not a Tate fan, right? You don't respect Top G. And I'm like, first of all, I've listened probably more Top G than most people, right? I've gone through his all of his stuff, right?
Right.
A lot, even the products and programs that he has. But what happens is you have to be able to treat everything like a buffet. You take what serves you, take what you believe, you take what aligns with your values, and you leave what you don't, right? So I'm like, just because Tate says this doesn't mean that it's fucking real 100% of the time, right? Like you said, a lot of stuff is clickbait, a lot of stuff. And when you actually watch his vlogs, you get to see him throughout the day. Throughout the day, when he's interacting with regular people, his friends, he's not the same way he is when he's doing a fucking interview.
Exactly.
Very different. So anyways, Loso's crazy in his own little world and stuff. And he's like, no, he said this. And I was like, bro, I agree with 90% of what he says and all that stuff, right? I get the whole, you got to learn to be dominant. You got to learn to be a protector, a provider. You got to learn to be well respected. You got to learn to be competent with what you do, right? You got to be someone that's going to be an achiever in life, in your career, in your business, all that. I'm totally with that, right? And you got to become, get the masculinity going instead of falling into all this emotional bullshit. All that we need to hear. David Goggins talks about it. All these other guys, right? Jordan Peterson or Patterson, whatever his name is. Peterson, right?
Jordan Patterson.
He talks about it, right?
Yeah, man.
So all these guys talk about it. That shit we need. But just because you agree with some of the stuff that someone says doesn't mean you have to agree with every goddamn thing.
Of course.
And I think me and you learned that when we were working in our network marketing direct sales business.
Bro, you are so right. You are so right.
Because we had these people that were ahead of us, right?
Glorified.
They're leapfrogging, right? They're way ahead, and we have access to these people, which most people never have access to. High six-figure, seven-figure, multiple seven-figure earners, talking about how they did it or what they're doing to create it, right? So most people live in a box, and they just talk to people that are associated within this box right here. Right? Or circle, whatever the fuck this is. And so we had that. And one of the things was, you have to adopt and model after successful people so you can change your mind, so you can learn what they know, so you can learn their skills. But also
don't worship them.
Yes. So we learned the difference, all right, to because we fell off a couple cliffs before. We've landed in some ditches that you don't have to worship these goddamn people. You know what I mean? You don't have to follow them blindly. And
learn from them, but don't worship them.
Yes. Bro, you know what they say, man. It's never meet your heroes.
Because you'll be disappointed.
You'll be disappointed.
You know how many times this happened to me, brother?
Bro, you know how many times this happened to me? Oh my God.
Yes. Ty Lopez said something great back when he was big and he had his 67 steps to the good life or whatever.
That was so genius too, man.
It was. He's making a comeback now. He is.
He went away for a little bit because obviously social media, bro, and we don't even do it 1/10 to the level that he was doing it, and it's exhausting, bro. It's a lot.
Definitely. So And one of the steps he talks about is your job to learn from a mentor. It's not their job to teach you. So you need to discern. You need to discern from what they're good at and who they are as a person. If you're learning business from them, then they're a good business person. They'll get disappointed when they're an alcoholic.
Yep.
They're human.
Yep.
Right? So they're going to make mistakes just like everybody else, and they're going to do bad things just like everybody else. Learn the good and don't pick up the bad.
Yes, exactly.
So when I heard that, then our old mentor, after I heard that, I was like, now I understand what I'm supposed to do.
We all got to understand it because until, like, you know, everything went off the deep end with that. It was like everything that they said.
Yes.
Even, bro, I was just talking to Carlos about this. We were just in California like 3 days ago. We went for 3 days. We were supposed to stay for 3 days. We ended up staying a week. And one of the things we were talking about was like how much we shifted and evolved because we're learning from some guys, and some of these guys taught that in business you have to be a certain way.
Yes.
And you don't have to feel bad for making people feel bad and disrespecting people. And so we're talking about it. There was this one time we're doing a meeting at Starbucks in Hialeah, right? You know, Loso, right? Hialeah boy. Yeah. Starbucks, right?
I got kicked out of all those Starbucks, bro.
That's the thing. We got kicked out of all those Starbucks. Carlos even got, like, arrested. Like, he basically was put in handcuffs in the back of a cop car because someone's like, oh, you're drawing circles, pyramid scheme. And Carlos started arguing back, made the person
with
feel bad.
With the manager or whatever,
Yeah, and they called the cops, right? And then, anyways, that story was funny. But the other story we were talking about was, like, we were literally thinking it was okay to sit down at a coffee table, talk to someone about a business opportunity, right?
And if they didn't like it, just
they didn't like it, you're a loser. Shit on them, right? You just, you're a loser, you're this, you're that. So Loso was there talking trash. This one dude's like, yeah. And Carlos was like, yeah, not backing down. Thinks he's goddamn Tony Montana.
Bro.
And dude leaves, and I'm telling our other boy, Jason, about this, right? And Jason, we're in Cali. He has a financial planning company, and he's just doing too much, bro. We were there, and this guy's got like 5 goddamn Lambos, like just like supercars. He's like, all right, you guys get in this one, you get that one, you get this one. Literally everywhere we went, it's like we're pulling up in 3 to 4 like Lambo, Ferrari, all of that.
That's crazy.
Nuts. But anyways, I call him Batman. But anyways, so we're there having a conversation because he's talking about how he handles it when like people don't get it and his just philosophy. And I'm like, bro, that was way different. And he's like, nah, I couldn't have been that bad. I was like, bro, we're in Starbucks. Carlos straight disrespected this man because he didn't have $500. And we took it like too far. And when we're doing meeting, the end of the night, we leave in the parking lot. This guy comes back with his friends, and we're like surrounded in goddamn Hialeah, bro. And these guys, and I'm sitting there like, oh, Carlos,
I saw this coming.
What the fuck, man? Bro. You know, and we had to literally talk ourselves out of that situation because it was like these guys were strapped, these guys were ready to go. And they were like, yo, what was that you were saying? What was that? I'd be like, yo, fall back, dude.
Exactly.
My boy didn't mean it.
That's another thing I learned from Tony. Ego discernment, dog.
Yes.
There's certain points where you did go too far. Yeah. And you didn't need to go that far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why at the end he was just like, yo, fuck it. I'm going to die, but everybody's dying with me. Because that's the only thing. Because he had gone too far.
He had gone too far. And it's like, all right, well, I'm going to die anyway.
The point of no return, exactly. Yeah. So those points we don't need to get to. So that's another thing I learned from our old mentor and from Tony. Ego.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You got to keep that in check.
And going back to where we come from and how we learned, now that I think about it, that system was a real life social media where you had the person who was the influencer and they had this giant following and everybody worshiped them, right? And it's kind of the in-person version of what's happening now on social media. And that kind of cult-like thing and just, oh my God, don't worship them. You know,
you can't.
Because they're human at the end of the day.
And you know what's crazy too is like I was there at the conference this past weekend, and I was actually talking to another RVP back in our old business, right? Adrian Imerl. I don't know if you remember.
I remember
or SVP. My bad.
I remember him. Yeah.
Right. And bro, we're just talking, we're connecting, and me and him actually went deep. Like normally I always see him, it's always like, oh hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Right. But then it's never like we actually got down and we were talking for at least like we went in fucking deep for a bit. It was probably like in the middle of the conference, talking for like an hour and a half. Then we left to grab drinks that night. We just kept the conversation going. And I love it because when you get to this level of depthness, right, and you go deeper and deeper, this level of depth.
Depthness.
Fucking making up words. And you get to go deep, right? You're realizing like, yo, you have similarities. Yes. You have experiences that you get to learn from. And then you have these aha moments that you didn't think about. So we go in deep, and then we're there, and we're talking about, you know, just different people in the whole organization, people we learn from, people that we face adversity with, all that. And there was one thought that just hit me like, yo, like a lightning bolt. It was just like, aha. And it was, for me, I held like a lot of resentment, like when we ended up splitting and all that stuff, right? For like things that went south, things that went sour, relationships with people that we were really close to, people I considered like brothers and all that. And then I was talking to him, and as we were going in deep, and he was going through the same situation with his partners, right? It made me realize, and I knew this before, but it didn't hit me the same way, but it made me realize, like, yo, number one, I was talking to my boy Jason, and what we were talking about was, like, back then we hit RVP, we had an organization of like 10,000 sales reps, we had over 40,000 plus customers, closer to 50, and we're doing all this stuff, we're making businesses go, and I'm like, yo, today, with this new launch of a couple projects that we're doing, I told him like, yo, he was like, yo, we want that guy Karl Smith from way back 2013, 2014, Karl Smith. And I was like, I mean, that guy's cool, but like, honestly, no lie, 2023 K Smith is at least 10 times better, probably 20 times better. Because I'm wiser, I'm sharper, I'm faster. I'm like, bro, we just evolved, right? I'm well-versed in multiple businesses outside of just one arena, one business, one area of expertise now, right? And I've had the opportunity to join different ventures. I've had the opportunity to get into investments. I've had the opportunity to start multiple businesses, make businesses grow, partner up with people on different things. And there's all types of experiences in life where you just ups, downs, and it's learning experiences, right? But I was like, yo, the person I am, because of that disagreement that went south and went sour, that actually, like, the next few years, bro, it was like really hard for me, right? It was like, yo, how can the fucking, I thought this was a business I was going to do forever.
I went through the same.
I thought that was a mentor and a friend and a brother I was going to have forever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I had a conversation with our other boy, Paul Whaling. And Paul Whaling was like, yo, you want to go off and do things on your own? And Paul Whaling's the man, right? No issues there. But he's like, you want to go off and do things on your own? You don't know how hard it is. You don't know how much you take for granted. And he was right.
He was right.
He was right. Because in our business, when we're focused on just the business development aspect of just getting customers and then training other people to get customers and do the sales, do the marketing, that was all our focus was. But when you have to actually take care of the operations side, right? When you have to take care of how do you set up processes and systems, when you have to take care of how are we going to become strategists to figure out this is where we want to go, what are the different routes we can use to get there, and how do we bring together all these different resources? When you have to do all of that shit on top of getting customers and figuring out marketing, on top of training and development for acquiring new people, and then on top of like processes and systems, and then on top of budgeting so that you can make sure you can take care of all these, that, yo, it is a lot. And I started getting like, yo, stress, anxiety, gray hairs, but my whole thing is we learned from our experience. You don't fucking quit. You're going to fucking be competitive, and we're going to learn what we got to learn. We're going to read the books, we're going to find the mentors, and we're going to find what we got to do to level up our fucking character, right? At the end of the day, it's all about how you're going to level up, because other people are doing it. We got to do it too. So it's level up. What's the next book? That didn't do it for me. What's the next mentor? That didn't do it for me. What's the next training? That didn't do it for me. But you level up until you're like, now I got a sweet spot. But that shit is exhausting. It's stressful, and it's the price that needs to be paid. And I'm looking at me today, and back then I was talented, but I'm looking at me today with some of the shit I've been able to do, like with my brother's business. We took that, made that shit fucking take off, bro. A few $100,000 a year after he took the business over from my dad, to 12 months later, 1.5 million. The next year, 2 office locations that are fucking set up, to then going off and doing different businesses with credit repair companies, and then consulting and public speaking. And bro, wild. Today, 10 times greater than that guy who was already talented, because of the fact that we went through a lot of fucking bullshit. But that disappointment, if that disappointment never happened with certain relationships, I would have never had to been forced to evolve to this level. And I told you the same thing when we first met. We're in the hallway. I was like, shit. And I got like chills. I was like, I love my brother Nelson, but I was like looking at you, and I was like, this is not that same guy, bro.
No.
This is not that same guy.
No way.
You know? So tell me, what do you feel are, since we're talking about trials, tribulations and stuff, what do you feel are some of the biggest challenges that have like really like gotten you to like break past maybe a certain barrier, right? The law of the lid, like you were forced to do that, but because of this challenge was so big. What are some of the stuff? And I know you just came back from, and I don't know if you talk about it.
Yeah, everybody knows I went to prison. I don't give a fuck.
All right, you fucking went to prison. I know that had to be some shit. Give me your top 3, and let's dive into that shit. Let's go in.
So, the one where it's always, like, I always keep it here is that trip to Phoenix. When I bought that one-way ticket, and I didn't know how I was coming back, and I made it, and everything worked out, that showed me that when you put things on the line, things are going to work out.
All right, so we got to put that in perspective because you talk about that way too lightly. There was a convention.
In Phoenix that cost a lot of money to go to.
And you didn't have the money to go.
I didn't have the money to. I had enough money to buy a one-way ticket.
One-way ticket.
A one-way ticket.
No hotel.
No hotel. No food. No nothing.
No transportation.
No way back.
No flight back.
Nothing.
But you took the flight there.
Something told me buy the flight and you will figure it out. Don't worry about it. Brother, when I tell you that everything fell into place effortlessly. Like, I had to do nothing for everything to fall into place while I was there.
Yeah.
And I still remember to this day, Pat Mazur on the stage saying, when you're willing to be the person, like, bro, everything, it was perfect. Everything.
Pat Mazur's the GOAT. We were just talking about Pat Mazur too.
I'm going to have him on the podcast.
Are you?
Yeah.
You got to. That
eventually.
Guy?
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course. That's,
you know what I
that's
mean?
gold.
Like, yo, come here, Miami. I'll fly to you, whatever.
Right? No.
Maybe I'll interview you on his jet or something, right?
Right?
Yo, Pat
it's crazy.
Mazur, the GOAT, bro.
So what I learned from that is when you're willing to take the risk and really take the action but really want it. Not pussyfoot around it. Like, really, when you really want something and you put it out on the line and you don't know how you're gonna figure it out, you're gonna figure it out. Take the action, have faith, it's gonna happen. That might be that one was big. I was never the same after that.
Yeah.
Because Tuesday night I was walking into my house and I looked up at the sky and I said, because right before I left, I looked up at the sky and I said, I'm gonna look at the same moon right from my bedroom when I come back.
Yeah.
And I was sitting and I looked up at the sky and I said, bro, I'm in my bedroom. Like, I made it home. I'm here. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, the things that could have happened, I could have stayed stranded in Phoenix. Like, it could have been bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked out and I got home. So that's definitely top up there.
Yeah.
You know?
How'd you get back home? Someone bought you a plane ticket?
No, somebody gave me a ride back. Someone ended up rented a car. Someone had rented a car and drove to Phoenix.
Wow. And you
I
just bummed the ride with them back.
I explained the situation, and they were like, yo, just hop in the car. Don't worry about it.
Bro, when you're in alignment, bro, that's it. It's like, yo,
Everything
the universe provides.
150%, brother.
Right?
A second one, I would have to say, was jumping into traditional business. So, I had cannabis cards for a while.
Yeah.
That company and all that.
Yeah.
And
what was that like? Yeah, I remember you started that. You were working it with
Gus.
With Gus, yeah.
Yeah.
And how'd that go?
It took off.
It did take off. You guys were going to trade shows, right?
Yeah, trade shows.
You guys were doing trade shows, and you were getting people. And what were you guys selling? You guys were selling the actual cards, like the license?
Yeah. We help people get their medical cannabis cards. Yeah,
Dope.
medical marijuana cards. And then we grew that from 0 to 5,000 clients.
Shit.
Yeah, it was a 7-figure business.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that shifted me forever because I went from really only being kind of successful in one industry to taking that experience to a totally different industry I knew nothing about and making it and blowing it up. That changed me forever. I said, bro, I'm going to blow up whatever I put my mind to.
That's it. Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah. Yeah.
That changed my core too. That was another moment where I always carry that with me. When I remember, like, dude, you took this from nothing to that, So.
I was watching you guys from afar, and then every time I'd meet with Carlos, whenever it was always random. But, we always do our catch-up whenever we ended up meeting up, and he'd always bring you up in those conversations.
Yeah, man.
Like, bro, I went to that last trade show. That's what's up.
Yeah, man.
Okay, so dope. So how was the biggest challenging part, though, in that? Like, what do you think was, like, that helped you create a breakthrough, but you think it was what?
Learning how business actually works was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Because I had the skills to make it work. I just didn't know how it worked. And
that was the hard part.
Yeah.
Because we thought we built a business, right? With that business, with the direct sales. So we're
really.
thinking, exactly. At the end of the day, we're just sales agents, right?
Exactly.
But we had, 1099 contractors, so we get to make our own thing and all that. But there's a lot of aspects about building a business.
And that brings it full circle to what you were talking about when I left that and I had to build my own system, my own process, my own everything.
Yes, everything.
It was whoa,
you have to figure out what's working, what's not working.
Yes.
And every little thing matters. Like you could literally have one thing that's off, and you could have a whole bunch of other stuff that's right. Everything collapses. It throws everything off.
Yep. 100%.
And then so now you're forced to work late nights as opposed to just getting into an easy rhythm.
Answering the phone at 7 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yep.
All that kind of stuff. I did that.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that business thrived and it worked. And it's still around today, you know.
That's what's up.
I'm not a part of it anymore, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So what's up? What happened? Why were you not a part of it? What happened?
That's a long story, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. God just decided it wasn't my destiny, you know.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Good for you, man. Yeah,
and then the third one, I think, is the third. Are we doing top 3?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. The third one.
The third one is prison for sure.
Okay.
Like, I never thought I was gonna survive that.
What was that experience like? And I just had one of my other boys, basically, and I normally give him a shout out, but this is like, so he just, he basically had some situation that ended up happening. Yeah. And he was actually trying to do good in the situation, but it just spiraled out of control. And he ended up kind of like a victim of the thing. So he ended up, going to prison and all that. Yeah. And then it was like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
Yeah, with me, it was something it was just.
And you don't have to get into why.
Yeah, I mean, no.
Like, just tell me what the experience was like.
Just long story short, I get sentenced October of 2022. And it's like, you're going. I got an 8-month sentence. And to tell you the truth, it was really weird. So at first I was really angry. Mm-hmm. I was pissed at my lawyer specifically because he was like, "No, you're not gonna go," and I ended up going. So I was like, "Bro, you sack of shit." Anyway.
That's the worst.
But so it's threefold. One, I turn around after I get sentenced. The only people behind me are my mother and my grandfather. So it reinforced the philosophy I already have of fuck what everybody thinks about you and what you decide to do with your life. Because on this day, when you were fucking, I had nobody here. So whenever someone tries to give you an opinion about your life or what you should do, remember that they weren't sitting behind you on that day when they threw down the gavel and it's like, yo, see you in 8 months. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That wasn't even going in. That was just before. 2, you're so much, like you're capable of so much more than you understand. Why? I get to prison. And then I adapt immediately, just like I've done my whole life. I'm friends with this group. I'm friends with the Puerto Ricans. I'm friends with the black dudes. I'm friends with everybody. And I adapt, and I learn to survive in that system. And you have to go through these things, right, to realize, to see. It just...
Do you feel like it took a lot of adapting to, like, you know what I mean? Was it like a hard situation
that's the scary part. For me, it was easy.
Yeah? And you were just like, boom, blended right in.
Boom, blended right in.
What about for the average typical person? Do you feel like they would freak out and they'd like have anxiety, or you think
they were adapt? In there? Some people couldn't take it and they were crying all the time and that kind of shit. And it was like, bro, my reaction, unfortunately, was like, bro, what a pussy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just adapted, dog, you know?
You just got to adapt. Yeah. Like, this is what it is.
This is what it is, this is going to make me better.
Yeah.
You know? I worked out 3 times a day. I read 31 books in 4 months. Like,
shit. That's what's up. That's actually really dope. I
flipped it on its head. It's supposed to be the worst thing that can happen to a man. It's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because now I get to write the greatest story ever told. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Prison by far has been the craziest obstacle I've ever overcome. Mm-hmm. And come out stronger on the other side because I had used software to automate the posting of the content while I was out, you know? So I come back and I have my Instagram is blowing up and YouTube. And I was like, what? Oh, shit, you know?
That's dope. Okay, so man. You had your stuff automated before you went in.
Yeah. I
was wondering because I was like, yo, Carlos, is this guy out? What the fuck? They giving him access to social media in jail? What is this?
No, definitely not. If you get caught with a phone in there, you're done.
But people had phones in there?
Yeah.
Like, people sneaking in?
Yeah.
No way.
But
so what happens if you were to get caught? Like, what do you...
With a phone?
Yeah. Like, you get solitary confinement or what?
You go into what's called the SHU, Special Housing Unit, SHU.
Yeah.
And you're stuck in there. You're not around anybody, no nothing. You're going to lose weight because the food sucks. You know, it's bad. You're serving out your full sentence. There's no chance of getting out on good behavior or any of that shit.
No way. If you got caught with a phone, you can't, no good behavior, nothing.
I would have done the full 8 months. And some people, it's worse because they'll have a 10-year sentence or an 8-year sentence. And it's like, good time is gone. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I actually decided going in, it was like monk mode. No distractions. No, nothing. I was going there to leave behind everything that was holding me back. It was going to stay in there.
Dope.
So I read, I worked out, I would meditate, I would do all these things to reconstruct. I didn't like, obviously, there was things about me that were off because I ended up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you know what? I'm going to mold myself into a fine powder. I'm going to destroy this, and I'm going to rebuild myself in an image of someone I can be proud of.
Love that.
Here I am.
Okay, dope. So tell me, what are some of those qualities, right? And like, just obviously you had to picture it in your mind, so you want to rebuild yourself. You read 31 books or 36 books, whatever it was, right? You knew as you're reading books, I'm going to focus on becoming this, or I'm going to focus on becoming that, or I'm going to focus on becoming this. Like, what were some of those thoughts in your head?
I wrote out non-negotiables.
Okay. Dope.
Principles.
Like what?
I won't compromise my morals for anyone, not even myself. Whenever I'm around a situation where I know it's not in my best interest, now it's like not even considering breaking the law, or it's not even a thought in my mind anymore.
Dope.
My freedom doesn't have a price. And I had to go to prison to learn that because I was around people who were doing a 30-year sentence.
Yeah.
27-year sentence, 23-year sentence, 15-year sentence. My freedom doesn't have a price.
Shit. Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah, man.
What else you got? What else you come up with?
Never doubt yourself.
Never doubt yourself?
Never doubt yourself.
Okay.
There were situations even in there where I was like, how am I going to figure this shit out? And I did. You know? It's never doubt what you can do. You're capable of so much more than what you can do. Never doubt.
Love that.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Love it. Were you ever concerned about like your safety while you were in there? Like,
luckily, no.
Okay.
Luckily,
cool.
no. I was around. I mean, we were all a bunch of criminals, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So good people, but there's good people in prison.
Yeah,
there are good people in prison. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
and then I mean, I know certain prisons are easier and other ones are harder than others.
Luckily,
and all
I
that.
was in an easier one.
Dope.
Yeah.
But even in the easier ones, bro, I hear stories like, all right, so my brother went to prison, not the dentist, the older
the other
one.
brother.
Yeah, exactly.
The black sheep.
Yeah, you remember, right?
Of course.
And yeah, man. So he went through and he came back and he was like, yo, one of the best things that happened to me, dog. And it's true. He was reading, he was working out, he was working on his mental, and you just give up distractions. Yep. I think for me, one of the big moments that had me level up, and this is actually right before I think I went to RVP. Maybe it was right after. But anyways, I went through a moment where everyone was like stuck on social media like all the time and all that. And I was just like so upset at the fact that I was addicted to this thing. Like I'd be on my phone like, oh, let me just go through this. And then I'd look up and like 2 hours just went by and I'm like, yo, this can't happen. So I was like, I need to get rid of it and just turn it off. So I remember we were talking to Casey Snyder came and did an event. And he's like, yo, what you got to do is you got to delete your social media.
I remember that.
And I was like, you remember that, right? And Casey's the bomb. That guy's the man. And he came in and I took off my social media, but the addiction kicked in so hard that I would just re-download it. and then I tried to delete it again.
Yo, that's crazy.
And I was like, and he was like, yo, his momentum started taking off when he said, I got off social media. Like, it's a big distractor. It's a time waster. And all the times, like, the most valuable thing people say is, like, your time. And it's not even just your time. It actually goes deeper. It's actually your attention. It's the attention. And what happens is you can have some time, but, like, if you don't have any energy to put attention into problem-solving things, then that time is not really useful unless you're doing some type of work that's mundane that you don't really have to think about.
Yep.
But as an entrepreneur, you're always solving problems, right? As an entrepreneur, you're always getting creative. You're always being resourceful.
Right.
You always got to figure out new things, new strategies, because your plan for doing something doesn't work. So he's talking about, yo, my momentum went through the roof as soon as I deleted social media. And my problem was I was like talking to him. I remember he was there and I was like, bro, I can't stop social media. He's like, bro, if you want it bad enough, you'll do it. I was like, all right, Casey, I got you. Fine. So I threw away my iPhone.
Whoa.
And I got a flip phone.
Whoa.
And I'm like, I'm going to cut this addiction if
That's
it kills
crazy,
me.
dog.
Yeah. And I was like, yo, you could just do this flip phone. Everybody's like, yo, what the hell? What is this? What is this?
Yeah, bro. That's
and
crazy.
You could do a flip phone for like 30 days. I could do 30-day, like, you know, what do you call it? A cleanse, right? Social media. So I was like, flip phone for 30 days. It was the worst because in texting, it's not just like, you can't just type in the letter. It's like A, B, C is all number one.
Oh my God.
And then
Terrible.
D, E, F is number two.
It's crazy.
And so I'm like, E, G. It was the worst. Most uncomfortable thing, but it was the only thing that kept me off social media. So long story short, 1 month I was there and I had clarity, bro. For once in my life, I was actually coming up with solutions to problems and things like that. And then after that, the 1 month came up and it was done. And I was like, let's keep it going another month. Let's keep it going another month. So I went 6 months and I was talking to, do you remember Luther?
Yeah.
You remember Luther, right? It was Luther, it was George, and Rashid, right? We were all basically there at a Panera Bread, I remember. And they were there like, yo, you're the craziest person for walking around with a flip phone today. But we were doing a meeting, and at the Panera Bread that we were at, it was back-to-back meetings. We'd have 5-6 people that would show up. An hour later, another 5-6 people that would show up. An hour later, 5-6 people. And we have pictures. You could scroll back on my social media. At every one of those meetings, at the end, you saw we held up applications for everyone that signed up.
That's awesome.
So in one day, it's like 2 applications here, 1 right there. The next meeting, another 2, then another 3. And we're literally doing like 10 applications a day. We're in momentum. And I remember at that point, in that 6-month time frame, me and Carlos were running and gunning for production, and I was like number 1 or number 2 for like the first week on the production charts, but I screenshotted that, and I was right there behind Pat Mazer, and for one day I popped up at RVP production, and I was before Pat Mazer on the production charts, which was nuts. I know I wasn't going to stay there. The next day, it just totally took over.
Some
and
of you guys,
else came
just for reference, Pat Mazer was like the Michael Jordan of...
Michael Jordan,
yeah,
right?
For sure.
He was like the LeBron James,
putting
Michael
up numbers.
Jordan put together, putting up numbers.
Bro.
But for one day, I was ahead on them on the RVP charts, right? And it was crazy. All at that time that I had a flip phone. And I remember I took a screenshot. I'll share it whenever you post this out. But I had screenshots of that. And for me, it was like, all right, cool. I still got some growth to do to catch up. But for that moment, it was a proud moment. I was like, fuck yeah. You know, and so I wasn't at number 1 in the company because you had some beasts, right? Aaron Burt was a beast. We had all these other guys that were just monsters, right?
Shout out to James Adler, Aaron Burt, Pat Mazer, all
these
you guys,
right? Yeah. Spencer Hun, like all of that. Beast. But for me, it was like, yo, I was just doing something that, you know, just 3 years before, 4 years before, was like impossible for me. You know what I'm saying? But it all comes down with how do you get focused to focus on the things that really matter and not let your time get sucked away and robbed from you in the process, you know, because too many people are stuck in the land of distraction.
Bro, I got so much done in 5 months.
Yeah.
I wrote my comic book. I didn't even tell you I'm writing a comic book.
I didn't know you wrote a comic book.
It's written. It's written, done. I'm just looking for the artist and all that kind of stuff. I wrote my second book. It's done. I just need to put it into the computer and like write and like turn it into that.
Turn it into that. Wow.
I lost 25 pounds. I did everything I said I was going to do in there. I did. No distractions, dog.
25 pounds, 4 months. That's great.
4 months.
That's really
good.
And
like bulky.
Yeah, I seen it. Yeah, you got some. Yeah,
got some muscle. You know.
Yeah. So, and that was good, man. Because there was a point where you really did start getting a little big for sure, right?
Oh,
and
bro,
all
that.
And you're definitely leaning out.
Huge. Yeah.
You weighed 300 pounds.
Yeah, my heaviest.
That's wild.
And my heaviest.
Wild.
I'll show you a picture when we finish of me at a convention standing next to Eddie, and me now. It's like, bro. Totally different person.
Yeah. Eddie Brown's another one, bro. I've seen that guy. He basically really caught a lot of weight at one point, and then this dude decided just like, get focused, go ham, and this dude got shredded. And he's naturally like a big
he's a big, fucker, strong guy.
Right?
Football player.
This dude's fucking big. So that dude got shredded. And, it's just...
Anybody who decides to do that, you focus. That's what it did for... It brought my imagination back. Like, it gave me the ability to really be in my own mind and understand the power of just... nothing, silence, dead silence, and my mind. And now it's just something I practice every morning. Nothing, no TV, no. I don't even watch TV anymore. Nothing. I wake up and it's 30 minutes of nothing, and I let my brain go through that natural process of thinking of things or whatever, and journaling. It's been really good for me, man. And like I said, I get to write the greatest story ever told.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah,
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, cool. So what are some of the things that you're like focused on right now? I know for me, I'm working on a few things. I want to find out what you're working on.
So the second book,
to see how things can like.
Yeah. My second book, I'm working on getting it out by December.
Dope.
My comic book, I'm working on getting the first issue launched by January.
Nice.
Podcast, I want to blow this up. Get this to like 100,000 subs in the next year.
Nice. That's what's up. And
aside from that, just improving as a person in any way, networking. Meeting new people, and it's same old, just 100x, you know?
Yeah, what I mean? 100x. All right, good. I love that. Yeah, man.
Definitely. What about you? What do you got going on?
Right now, okay, so, all right, so for those of you that don't know, I have a training and coaching company. It's called Next Level Success, and we're focused on helping and empowering entrepreneurs, business professionals, sales professionals to become greater leaders in their field so they could take their business to the next level and create even more success. And this has been something I've been doing ever since I left that business. And I got into other ventures and all that, but it was always like, okay, how do I get into the coaching space? How do I help people do this? And I remember when I got into real estate, at first I was there, like I didn't know anything about real estate, but I was like, I'm gonna learn this, I'm gonna get this and all of that. So I joined a small boutique brokerage, had 100 agents. And then I come to find out that 100 agents doesn't mean you have 100 agents. It really means you have like 5.
Right.
5 are showing up at the office. Everyone else just has a license. And the average real estate agent only does like 1 sale a year. So there's really no competition. But I just came in that first year. I became the #1 agent in the office based on sales and all that stuff because I got really good, found a mentor and all that. Then after that, every morning, it was me and one other person. I'd be there and I'd just be cold calling, 8 a.m. I'd be in the office, bam, 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 bam. And the broker was like, what the fuck are you doing? How do you know how to do this? I was like, because I was a trained beast, son. And he was like, who do you know that you're getting with all these sales and all that? I'm like, bro, I don't know anyone. I just found out who knows how to use a script, what script are they using, model and duplicate, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. every single day, smile and dial. And I would set up and book up a bunch of appointments. So he was like, yo, why don't you basically train some of our guys? So we ended up doing a meeting. We had everyone come in.
Easy enough.
And it's like, Karl was #1 producer this month. Who wants to come in? Out of 100 agents, they had 18 people show up. And I delivered a talk, and they were like, what the fuck? Where'd you learn to talk like that? I was like, 10 years of the greatest training, right? The greatest school ever.
Best school ever.
Right? And they were like, what? They were like, bro, you need to be teaching people this stuff. So one thing led to another, and I got hooked up with another brokerage called Keller Williams, and I started doing talks for other real estate agents, just teaching them the simplest like stuff, just like how do you prospect? If you prospect and you're doing lead generation, the hardest part about real estate is getting enough leads to talk to, getting enough people to work with, and it's every business too, right? The #1 reason businesses go out of business is because they fail to get customers.
100%.
That's it. Number 2 is they fail to manage finances, which is another thing, and I got hooked up with a financial planning company after. But I was teaching lead generation, and then I taught leadership. It's all leadership. If people can learn to work on their leadership skills, you can work on your attributes and your mindset. You can develop the skills that you really need to excel. And it's not 100 skills. For most businesses, it's 3, 4, maybe max 5 skills. And if you get good at these 3 to 5 skills, you're going to progress. You'll be the top 10% in your field. So leadership is understanding that. It's where do I want to go? What do I need to do in order to level up, right? And you get clear. Like, how do I have to think? Because I got to think like a champion. And most people think like not champions.
Thinking, bro.
Stinking thinking, right? So it's how do I learn how to think? It's how do I learn to level up my skill sets? Because your skills are responsible for the results you produce, right? If you're meeting people but you're not closing, it's because you don't have that skill.
Exactly.
Right? If you're presenting to people but no one's interested, it's because you don't have that skill.
Exactly.
If you are going to networking events but no one's interested enough to exchange information with you and continue the follow-ups because you suck at networking events.
Yes.
You suck at networking. It's a skill, right? And every business has different skills. But you got to really hone in on that. And then once you start to measure your results on like, okay, how am I leveling up? Am I getting better month to month? Now all of a sudden you'll realize any 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, you can actually grow to become part of the 10% in your little club, in your field, in your niche. So it's all leadership. And when I started teaching and training this, it just got me the aha moment, like, bro, this is what I need to be doing. You know, so I did it for real estate. I did it for other businesses. I partnered up with a credit repair company and I helped them blow up and build a sales team. And then I got into financial advising. And then with financial advising, I learned a lot about like wealth management and wealth planning and retirement planning and all this stuff that a lot of the wealthy people are doing that the poor middle class, they have no idea. Like I learned how to literally become your own bank. I learned how you could literally like get banks to finance and fund investment deals that will either set you up for short-term, mid-term, or even your retirement that you don't have to put any money up front. So now you have banks putting money in that's going to help you. Like, yo, it's just the rules of money out of control. But you can't generate enough money to start playing the game if you don't have skills to be able to excel in your field, right?
Yep.
So leadership is the beginning of it. Then you get into business growth strategies, and then you get into financial planning and wealth planning. So we've been doing events for the last 10 plus years, and we teach those 3 areas, and we work with small business owners, home business owners, major corporations, and we help them all get the strategies they need to level up and increase sales, revenue, and profits. So right now, we actually just launched a mastermind. Usually I'd work with individual companies or one-on-one, but I don't have time for that because I'm working on like 3 projects. I can't take anything more, and I'm actually shaving off 1 so I could just focus on 2. Because if you're chasing 2 or 3 rabbits at one time,
won't catch one.
Yeah, you can only catch 1. You know what I'm saying? So most people don't get that, and they try to be a jack of all trades with everything. It's like, bro, you need to shave it off,
Then
focus on one.
you become a master of none.
Yes, you become a master of none. So with the events that we have, we just launched a mastermind group, and it's a way I could reach more people and get people plugged in. But we throw on events every single month, like these networking events and business workshops. We have a mastermind day that happens once a month for the people that are actually part of the paid mastermind program. And then we do bi-weekly coaching calls where we follow this blueprint. And the blueprint is leadership, business, finance. We execute over the course of a year, and we show people how to level up and get to $100,000 a month in revenue for your business. But there's an actual strategy involved, right? Identifying what are the leadership skills and qualities and traits, and then how do we help you develop that in your first quarter? And then what are the business strategies and business processes and systems that you need to have in place? And we help them execute that over the next 2 quarters. And then there's a financial strategy. Once the money starts rolling in, we help you execute that on the last quarter. So by the time you're done, you have a business that you can actually grow to that level. And, you know, it's funny because I have a guy who's, his name's Danny, real estate agent, just became my client 2 months ago. And I said, real estate's the easiest business because just like direct sales, you don't have to worry about all these other aspects, right?
Just one thing.
If you go in and you're working with a brokerage, marketing's already set up, process is set up, CRM system's already set up. You have mentorship somewhat, and you know you have some good brokerages and some bad ones, obviously, right? But you're only focused on 3 things at the end of the day: lead generation, doing your presentations or consults, and then getting the contract signed. That is it, just 3 things. So I told this guy, Danny, we were working together, and he's like, bro, I got to do this, and then I got to do this, and I got to do this, and I got to do this. And he's 21. And he's making on average like 1 rental or 1 sale a month up until that point. And I said, bro, if you shave off all of these things and your calendar is just filled with 3 time blocks: lead generation, doing consults, and then follow up and close. Those are the only 3 things. And we set it up: 8 to 12 lead generation, 12 to 6 consults, 6 to 8 money time. People are home. You're calling people back, and it's the follow-up from people that didn't answer from 8 to 12.
Right.
So you focus on these 3 things, your whole business will change. So we worked together a month and a half later. This guy was signing 1 house every single week. And I said, when you generate these prospects, I said, what you need to do is you need to say no to. If you want to specialize in luxury, stop trying to do luxury, stop trying to do commercial, stop trying to do first-time home buyers that are going to buy the lower-priced homes. You focus on your niche. And you line your leads up with only people that are in that niche. Luxury, this is all you want. So nothing below $500,000. And that's it. If they're below $500,000, refer it out, get 50% of the commission, but don't do the work. Don't let it suck in your time. Because that time you spend to make $3,000 on a commission, you could use that same time, because it's not easy, it's not simple, right? You're going to spend a month with that, sometimes 2 or 3 months.
Right.
Shopping around, comparing, doing all this stuff. Like, yo, don't do it for a $3,000 or $5,000 commission. Nothing less than a $8,000 to $10,000 commission. So, long story short, month and a half in, we just changed this guy's schedule and routine. Doing those 3 things daily, he started closing 1 house a month. This last month, this dude, 21 years old, made $73,000 a month. Out of control. Right?
Why? Because he learned the mentality of a last of a dying breed, dog.
That's right.
That's why.
That's right. The last of a dying breed, bro. You got to learn to be a champion, man. And, you know, I don't know how much time we have here, but the bottom line and what I try to teach people is, number 1, you got to catch the vision. You got to commit to greatness. What the fuck do you want, right? Who are you trying to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? What do you want your life to look like? And what do you want people to say about you by the time your time here is done? That's the ultimate vision. And you got to get clear on it, because most people are not. Definitely. That's why they end up meandering in the maze of mediocrity, right? So you got to define what you want. You got to catch the vision. Yep. Number 2, you got to level up. You got to identify what does it take in order to level up. And like you said, you went in with a purpose. You said, I'm going to level up while I'm here. It's not going to be wasted time. I'm not going to complain while I'm in here for the next 4 to 8 months. I'm not going to blame anyone, me, anyone else while I'm in here for the next 4 to 8 months. I'm not going to cry and bitch and moan while I'm in here for the next 4 to 8 months. I'm going to use this time productively, wisely. I'm going to level up. And you read 30 plus fucking books. So anyways, you know where that shows up? In your bottom line. Because if you understand what you want, you commit to the level up, everything that you put out, all of your results, the success that you'll pull out will increase, because it all measures up to the level of you. Once you level up, once you focus on your growth, everything else rises up with you, man. And
100%.
that's what it is. So the mastermind program, just to cut it short, is how do we get a community of people that think like that are committed to being the leader in their field? I don't care if you're in media, right? influencer. I don't care if you're in real estate. I don't care if you're in financial advising. I don't care if you're in car sales. I don't care if you're in fitness. Everyone that's committed to leveling up and being the top G in their field needs to get around other people that are committed to leveling up and being the top person in their field, you know?
And so you got to get around like-minded people. You have to get around like-minded people.
You have to get around like-minded people.
There's no other way around it. Cut off your loser friends. Stop smoking weed and eating shit. Get around people who are trying to do something in life. If you want to do something in life, get around other people who are doing shit in life.
Yeah.
I have a core group of friends, and outside of that, I don't talk to anybody else. I spend so much time alone, Carl.
Me too, man.
I'm alone at least 2/3 of my day.
Yep.
Because I'm focused, and there's no right for socializing. What am I going to celebrate? I haven't gotten there yet. I'll celebrate when I'm there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just...
It's going to be dope, man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have you on the panel at one of our events, too. Now that you're free, you're alive and free,
bring it on, dog.
We're going to get you on there. And at our events, we do Q&A with, like, the whole group. So we'll have anywhere from, like, 50 to 150 people that show up for these things.
Super.
But we'll do Q&A, bro. You could talk about it. You could drop some gems. Man. It's going to be a dope time.
Dope. I'm excited.
It's going to be a dope time, man.
Alrighty. So, Carl, usually I ask 3 questions at the end of the episode, but
talk to me.
You've pretty much answered 2 of them. I'm going to... One is what inspires you, 2 is what's next for you, and 3 is how do you want to be remembered. So we'll start with what inspires you.
All right. What inspires me is chasing greatness and getting to a point where I can be like all the mentors that I looked up to and followed and modeled all these years, right? I want to become someone worth becoming, someone that can inspire other people to become the best version of themselves and reach their ultimate potential.
Bro,
that's what inspires me.
You know what I think is crazy about chasing greatness and like going after your goals? Just by doing that, you're already setting the bar for other people, and other people are already looking at you, and you're already inspiring other people just by being like chasing greatness in your own life.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that before. Before I thought it was just this grind. And now that I'm kind of becoming a public figure, I get these DMs of like, man, I needed this. Thank you so much. I'm like, wow. And all I'm doing is just chasing what I want in life. And just by doing that, you're already an example for other people.
Yep.
It's great. I love it, man. I'm with it.
It's great. So that's like my number one thing, right?
Super
so
important.
that's what inspires me and motivates me. Like I do like at least a couple hours of personal development every day outside of working 12, 14, 16 hours like of actual work.
Right.
And half of that time will be like sales stuff, lead generation stuff, whatever, or working with clients. And then the other half of that is planning the next move, right?
Definitely.
Figuring out what do we got to do for this website? What do we got to do for email campaigns, for text campaigns? How do we plan out this next event? How do we create this next program? How are we going to make things better and improve better? So, you know, there's an element of working in your business, and then there's an element of working on your business. Yes. And most people, they get trapped by the cycles that they create.
Working in the business and they don't work on the business.
That's right. 100%. That's right. And so as a business executive, right, you got to be able to think strategically where, all right, at one point, you got to do sales because obviously you're not making money if you're not, right? Obviously, you got to do things inside your business to keep things moving forward, right? Otherwise, you can't progress. But then you have to always be thinking like, okay, what do we want? And then what do we have to change? What do we have to bring in? What do we have to take out? Like there has to be that aspect of being outside of your business.
Working in the business and working on the business.
That's right. Yeah, 100%.
People think business is so complex, and sometimes you could just break it down to a sentence. I love it. So question number 2.
Question number 2.
I think you answered it already. What's next? The mastermind.
So
right?
So it's 2 things actually. So one, I was telling you 2 projects. One is building up the mastermind community. I could just reach more people, right? It's a little hefty fee. You're going to pay 10 grand for the year to work with us, right? And we could figure out budgets that work for people. But I tell people spend 10 grand. We'll show you how to get to 50 grand per month in an increase in your income or 100 grand per month in revenue, right? And even if it doesn't happen perfectly, because obviously not everyone's going to do it. Some people take longer. Some people have already had experiences, right? You're going to have the blueprint that's already laid out. Who do you have to become as a leader? What do you have to implement in terms of business strategy? And then how are you going to manage those finances, right? Very important. So 12 months it doesn't happen, we do it again. And usually 12 to 24 months, people will actually get it, right? And so all these people that went through the school of hard knocks that we started off and originated with, you said it. They spun off, they went somewhere else. And in going somewhere else, because they built themselves up to a certain level of character, certain level of skill set, certain level of leadership, They can take problems, they could take an idea, they could solve those problems, solve that challenge, and create breakthroughs. You know, so that's what it's about. So one project is build up the mastermind community. We'll have 100 people by the end of this year that are part of our mastermind. And then we're going to have over 500 by the end of next year for 2024. That's the plan.
Super fire.
The second goal is I'm partnering up with my boy Jason. My boy Jason Earn has a financial firm, and he's just doing too much. And I've seen this guy grow it in a decade from scratch, from zero, just starting off in the financial services industry to building $100 million a year business. And it was like, whoa. So he's like, now we're taking this thing to a Billy. He's like, if you want to partner up with me, let's do it. We can open up a new territory in Miami. I was like, I love the idea. I've learned from him. I've learned a lot, especially as I was building out some financial agents several years back. And I'm like, people need this. People need the financial education. So I know how to build sales teams. Let's build this out of Miami. And so me and Carlos are partnered up on that. And we're going to build an agency. We're going to have a dope-ass office in Sunny Isles Beach. And we're just going to bring financial education out there. So it's going to be dope. It's going to be great. So that's what I'm working on next.
Dope.
And then what's the third question?
How do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered as the person that inspired people to go after achieving their full potential. Right? I want to be remembered as the person that said, yo, because of him, just like I look up to Tony Robbins, just like I look up to Darren Hardy, just like I look up to Les Brown. We listened to Les Brown for years. And what's funny is I even had Les Brown talking on stage on my vision board back in 2006, 2007, 2008, when I was going through my hard times, when I was struggling financially. I'm like, yo, how am I going to make this thing happen? 2006, bad year, 7, 8, and all that. 2009 was my breakthrough, but I still had Les Brown on my vision board. No matter what happened to me, going through down and out, I just kept it on my vision board. I'm looking at the car I want to have, looking at the place. I had the Viceroy on my vision board too, which was dope.
That's sick.
I had the M3 BMW that I got, my first luxury car, on my vision board. I had a big training with a speaker on that later on I realized, oh, that's Les Brown speaking in front of a group of people on my vision board. And last year in November, we were doing a conference for 3 days in front of 1,000 people, and I was sharing the stage with this guy, Les Brown.
That's awesome, man.
Fucking wild, bro. Crazy.
Talk about bringing it into reality, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, bro. So that was pretty wild, man. It was like the Health, Wealth, and Self Summit that was going on, but dope. Just totally wild. And yeah, it was just nuts. And my whole thing was Les Brown had an effect, and he made an impact on me, on my life, right? And I want to be remembered as the person that does that for other people. I want to inspire other people to chase their greatness, to be an example, and to live their vision.
That's the biggest blessing you could ever have in your life, man. That's why I do all this. It's really to inspire other people and be the best example of, you could take yourself from a cell in a prison to the greatest story ever told, man.
That's right. I mean? Greatest story ever told.
My brother.
I like that. That's got to be the subtitle in the next book.
Definitely.
And we'll call the next book Leapfrog.
Leapfrog.
Yeah, just kidding.
We'll co-write it.
Right? We'll co-write it.
My brother, I love having you here. This has been amazing. Tell people how they can connect with you.
Dope. I love it, man. So my name's Karl Smith. You can find me at K Smith Inspires on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. K Smith Inspires. And if you want to connect with me, go to ksmith360.com. So you can get a 360 view, all my social medias. You could find my YouTube page, my YouTube channel, my podcast episodes that are going to be released very shortly. That's all on there. And as a free gift for those of you guys that are tuning in and watching, we do these coaching calls, these strategy sessions with people that are looking to elevate their business, their career, their finances, and create their next breakthrough. So for anyone that basically tunes in through this podcast, go to ksmith360.com. Again, ksmith360.com. Click on Discovery Call, and I'll give you a 15 or 20-minute free discovery call where we can dive into what you have going on for this year. What are some of the biggest challenges? And I'll give you my blueprint for how you can actually solve those challenges, and you can start working on that right away, okay? Free of charge. Normally charge $500 for the full 1 hour session, but I'll give you like 20 or 30 minutes for free. If you guys come in through here, ksmith360.com, when you fill out the thing, just mention you came from the Montana Method. And that's it. Go. And that's it.
And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's how we wrap it up. K Smith.
My man. Yo, appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Love it, man. You got a great thing going on here. Excited to see everything that's to come from this.
Thank you, brother. So, alrighty, guys. Another episode of Montana Method Podcast. Your host, Nelson. As always, push it to the limit. The world is yours. And never forget, if you're not chasing a dream, life is meaningless, guys. I'll see you on the next one.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really rags to riches, rags to riches, came from rags.